Last man standing events. The concept of last man standing events is something that I have heard of for the last couple of years, and something I've never really thought, why would you do that? And it's a pretty crazy event. They come in all different shapes and sizes across the globe. The one I took part in just the other day, Herdy's FrontYard. So some little tips and advice on what you might need to think about and what you might need to do if you're considering doing a last man standing event. And I'm going to put them up at the end of this video, so keep an eye out for that. Just set up. Got my little bed here if I can get some time to sleep in between laps. So it's just under a 7k lap with some sleep time. On the hour you start the laps, last man standing event. Should be good. Everybody else setting up their tents. And the gazebos for the start line. Got my light in here, hopefully. Lovely scenery here at Herdy's backyard. You can see a lake out around there. Take it we run out around this section, come back in. So plan tonight is the race starts at 4, try and get, I don't know, maybe 70, 80k up, 90k up this week. Hasn't been much done, take in the atmosphere. Leave it not injury free. I've never done one of these lap things before, so it'll be a new experience. Everybody busy getting set up and doing what they need to. 2 hours to kick off.
At 5 minutes before the start of the hour every hour. So this is Nancy Sinatra, these boots keep on walking. That will be your 5-minute warning song. When you hear that playing, which obviously in the middle of the night will probably do your heading, but that will be your 5-minute warning, because we are not going to give a 5-minute warning. We will give a 2-minute warning and a 1-minute warning, and that is all you need to know. With the warnings, so how it works, for those of you unfamiliar with it, this section here is called a corral. So we will have tape over the start line, tape over the end that you can see there of the crowd. You have to be within this section within 10 seconds of the end of the lap. Sorry, 10 seconds of the start of the lap. So you have to be in that area within 10 seconds. We'll do a 10-second countdown. With 10 seconds to go, we will security tape off the finish on there. If you're not in there within that 10 seconds, you're a DNF. So obviously the first few laps will be a bit of an exception, because there's going to be too many of you. So we'll open it up a little bit more, and then as the numbers drop off, you'll see the corral will get smaller and smaller until it's down to here. So we are going to do things a little bit differently. I'll just give you an idea of what your 2-minute warning is going to be, and then the 1-minute warning will be exactly the same. So you need to keep an ear out for that. We'll try and do it as central as we can when there's so many of you, and then obviously as the night gets into the wee hours of the morning, etc. Who cares, we're going to be up. We'll probably still do it central then as well, I suppose. I'd like to introduce you to your race director, who has, along with Simone, myself and Vlad, put this all together. This is Emma Luskin. Emma has put some incredible hours over the last couple of weeks putting this all together. She's actually a runner as well, because she'd already signed up before I suggested she come on board. So she's going to go out and do a lap or two. We do have a couple of things different with Herdy's front yard to what we normally do. So I'm going to take the microphone up with me, and you just have to follow your eyes with me on this. Okay, so we have, for the very first time, and it will be something new, a dead fucking last. Fourth. So how that's going to work is the first person to DNF will win that. And how we're going to gauge the first person, it'll be the first person that does the slowest lap or gets timed out the last. So you'll win yourself your very own DFL trophy. And for those that haven't worked out, they are a fork to match your spoon, a wooden spoon for those that run 30. Removable fork, so your guild team still can use it. And obviously there's the hashtag #FuckYouSeanCaser, so we're changing it to #FuckYouSeanCaser. We thought it was appropriate to show lots of internet twists. Dangling around the place, so talking up. Just as on the ups. There is a, out the field, there is a selfie spot. So for those of you that are keen on taking selfies, we think we have a pretty neat place out there, which on sunrise in particular will be amazing. But also on sunset, you get some pretty amazing views of the city in the background. Now, the DNF this year, Emma is going to explain what you need to do. So you will not, sorry, no explanation, show, but you are not a DNF until you ring this bell. So the bell will be on top of the inaugural trophy. With it being on top of the trophy, we need you to look at what you're giving up if you're going to DNF. Once you ring that bell, there is no going back. You're out. You are DNF if you're coming well under time. You need to come in, sorry. Yeah, you can't, okay, go back out. You need to come in well under time, and you ring the bell and someone convinces you to go back out again, you can't. You're done. Our rules are now, with this event, you ring that bell, you're out. You're a failure. So listen, Emma's just going to go out and do a few laps of the novelty of it. Then we're going to be in your ear the whole time to convince you to go as long as you can. Don't, like I put on there, don't have in your head that you're going to go to 15 laps and get your 100k up. Push yourself further. Don't come in that many time, well under time and go, that's it, I'm done. That's bullshit. That's not what you're coming here for. You're coming here to test yourself, test your resolve, go out there and see how far you actually really can go. And then at the end of it, when you do that extra 6.71k, you can come back in, you can say, fuck you, Sean Kaiser, but I loved it, I did an extra lap or two, and I thought I was capable of it. Because you guys got in our ear and said, go on, you can do it again. So really, really going to push that as much as we can, and we're going to be in your crews here once you guys bug it off to do exactly the same. So don't sell yourself short. Now, really quickly before we go any further, if anyone has not yet checked in, get over there to the check-in counter, because even if you have picked up your bib, you need to go in there and fill out your medical forms and things like that. So please pop over there now, you'll be able to hear us from there.
really nice. Yeah, definitely. No, I can edit that out, so I can't do it. Sorry. I can lay something over that. I'll not drop you. 1, 3, 4. A little bit tight. Very interesting to see how everybody is kind of got their own little strategies, their own plan. Some people trying to get the race or the lap done quicker. First lap for me was 42k, so 18 minutes before the next one. Yeah, hard to know whether to pick it up, walk a little bit more, run a little bit more. Not really sure why my calf is kind of seizing up so early. Interesting, but been through the like that before, so know how to manage it for now. Beautiful course, flat, constant asphalt's a bit of a but hey, kind of everything, gorgeous scenery. Sunrise, sunset, and yeah, good company. First lap, a little bit spread out in the second lap, bit of a gap, but that's okay. Sun's starting to go down, which will leave it a little bit cooler for the next lap, which will also be good. And I feel a bit hungry. I'd have to eat more whenever I get through. But okay. Lots of people out. Many people on the course as well as around running, which is nice. This is without doubt one of the nicest little patches. And among the trees, really good. Feels quite special running through them. See if from this angle. The sun coming through the trees. Really nice. Ooh. Well, should get to 15k anyway.
Feeling. How am I feeling? Feeling not terrible. Right knee give me a little bit of grief, but all in all, not too bad. Yeah. Start of the night for about the first KDK was averaging around about the 38 to 40 minutes for the loop. Last couple has been about 42, 43.
A few things that I learned from my first last man standing event is crew support. More and more important the longer you're intending to be out there, the harder things get. If you are going to this race, you certainly can do it on your own. I clocked up 125k on my own, but if you're thinking of going there and you're thinking you're going to be going through the pain and suffering and really getting to the point where you've pushed it to the total limits, you want to have somebody or a couple of people around to actually help and support you during that process. Highly recommend that. Few things that you are probably going to need to have: a good nutrition plan, how often you're going to eat, how often you're going to drink. Have that in place. Are you going to carry a water bottle? Are you going to carry a backpack? Are you just going to drink every kind of 6 or 8k, whatever your loop happens to be? So have that plan in place before you go down. It'll just make it a little bit easier whenever you're there. So also what sort of nutrition you're going to take with you, things that are going to be easy to eat while you're in the loop, and things that are obviously set up till to be there. So well worth having to think about them things before you get there. The other thing you want to think about is your strategy. What's going to be your strategy for the race? Are you going to go as quick as you can per loop, try and have more rest time at the end of it? Or are you going to try like I did and just go at a comfortable pace? I used heart rate, and looking back on it, I probably was 1 or 2 beats too high considering what I wanted to achieve with the longer distance. I could have certainly dropped it back to low zone 1 instead of kind of high zone 1, low zone 2. So that's something that I would change. Or if you're not going with heart rate, think of your pace. What's a super easy pace for you that you think you can maintain for as long as possible? Also, what you want to think about is, are you going to walk? Quite a lot of people out there was going with a run walk strategy. In fact, a couple of the lead guys who are probably still going at the minute were going where they would bust out a very fast 3k or so, I'm guessing they were doing, because I would eventually catch up with them and pass them for a couple of minutes before they take off again and probably bash out the next 3k. So I suppose have that strategy, have that plan in place. Be prepared to mix it up a little bit. What I was doing was I would do kind of 2 laps at a very comfortable pace, and then the third one I would intentionally slow that comfortable pace down, which worked well for me. So what I found was you had finished your lap, you're sweaty, you've got all your gear on, and the next thing you turn around and you've got 18 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes for the fast people where you're sitting around. Now what I did was I had a hoodie jacket which I just kind of put on and kept myself warm, and a sleeping bag which I climbed into, but everything's still wet. You take that off to start the next race, everything's still wet, so it's a hard one to try and figure out, but certainly be thinking about it. And that's really the main things that you want to be focusing on: nutrition, pace / effort, clothes. You get them 3 things right, you're in with a shout. Plan, as I say, a good plan in place so that you can actually work through and have something to aim for. It will at some point go to shit and you will change it, but having that plan in place is important from the start. I hope this video has been of some benefit to somebody out there that are sitting thinking, yeah, should I not? And I don't really think that's for me. Try it, book into it, have a bash at it, you'll thoroughly enjoy it, and let me know how you go. My goals going into this race was purely see what I can kind of get up. I had never any thoughts of winning it or getting down to the last 10 or anything like that. It was purely let's show up, meet a few people, run around until things started to get sore, and then take it from there. So how did I do? I clocked up 126k before, well, not 126 before my knees started to get sore. I clocked up about probably 90 before my knees started to get sore, and then I pushed on a little bit more until I got to the point where I knew it was just time to stop. And I always said the body would know when it was time to stop. My main goal was that I didn't lose any training time this week and I didn't injure anything or break anything. So from that point of view, it was an awesome race for me. But I just want to touch on the race format, because even though I went into this race thinking, ugh, round and around, and there's a lot of these formats crunched up, especially in the ultra scene now, so that people can test themselves and push themselves and see how far they go. So the concept really amazing. The fact of going round and round actually wasn't that bad. I've said it before, at the Light Horse 24 hours last year, it was very similar. Short format, or a short little loop, and you go around and around and around for 24 hours, and the person that gets up as much Ks wins. But this format was interesting because you started a new lap every hour. So as long as you were lined up at the start line before the next hour kicked off and you started, you were still in the race. So really interesting. My loops was taking me about 38 to 42 minutes each loop. So you had a good 18-20 minutes of kind of rest in between each loop. So that in itself was quite a strange thing. So you were trying to take on more nutrition and then not really take on much in the loop, which was, it's different than a point to point where you're kind of constantly nibbling and constantly going and stuff. Other positives about the race, you got to see your crew. Now unfortunately my lovely crew couldn't make it this time, but anybody that had a crew had you were able to see them every loop. And certainly as the race goes on and there's still people running at this point, nearly 48 hours after it, the crew becomes even more important. The more the body breaks down, the more the people sitting there, the more important that time is, and I suppose the slower people get, the less that time becomes. So that's that in itself is where the challenge really kicks in. Now, as I say, my slowest lap yesterday I think was around about 47, 48 minutes, which was the last one where I kind of walked and thing. But that was purely because the knee was starting to go and I didn't want to continue to push it. So, but I'm sure at this stage people are coming in 51, 52, 53 minutes, and that's where the crew becomes vitally important to get in, to actually get you everything that you need and get you set up for the next lap. So, take away from the last man standing events, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. I would certainly do another one again. Next time I would like to go in, I would like to try and push my limits to the limit, not have the kind of in my head I can't get injured for my next big event coming up. So that would be something that I would definitely try again. I feel a little bit jealous of the people that are still pushing themselves and really getting through the pain at the minute. And as I say, for me that wasn't my goal during this race, so I couldn't put myself in that position. But for the people that have, you know, whether it's a straight line ultra marathon of 160k, or whether it's a 200 mile or whatever it is, point to point, or whether it's around and around in loops for the like of a 24-hour race or the last man standing race, it's the same concept. People pushing themselves to see how far they go, especially in the ultra scene where people are there to help and support people that are pushing themselves, how far they go. So the atmosphere, the camaraderie, everything just ticked all the boxes in this race. It's a race run by Ultra Series WA, who's always put on amazing events. So if you're in WA, you want to try something new, and this is the good thing about this race for people that have first timers that have never really pushed themselves before. They get a rest in between, they can go out, they can do 2 loops, 3 loops, 4 loops, clock up 30, 20k, whatever the case is. Or for people that have been around for a long time and want to continue to push themselves, they can go out and clock up as many k's as they like before they get their pain and suffering fixed. So in summary, highly recommend anybody that's thinking of doing one of these last man standing events. You'll get the same as you get with most ultras. You'll get the camaraderie, you'll get the atmosphere, you'll get the pain and suffering, and you'll get that sense of being around people that are totally amazing and totally push their limits. So can't recommend it enough. I hope you take part in one sooner or later, and I hope this video has been a little bit of benefit to you. Thanks for watching. Till the next time.